Squatting is a skill that is actually more complicated than people give it credit for, and it's something we do all day as we sit in chairs or on the toilet. When done well, though, squatting can be great for the pelvic floor. Side lunges are basically a squat to the side, focusing on lengthening one side's glutes at a time, but many of the mechanics are still very similar to a regular squat. The biggest key is maintaining alignment of the rib cage over the pelvis the whole time, and we're going to try to bias the squat here in such a way that you can really feel and use your glutes. Stand with your feet about 2 times your hip width apart, but you may need to play around with what distance feels best to you. Make sure your feet are grounded and you feel somewhat equal weight on all 4 corners of your feet. Start with nice tall posture, rib cage stacked over hips, and coming tall through the crown of your head. Let one knee bend as you sit back into your glute on that side, creating a lot of length through that glute and the back of your pelvis. Your other leg remains fairly straight. Your upper body may hinge forward a bit as you sit back, but try to keep your chest up and open and make sure your spine stays long and tall with ribs aligned with pelvis the whole time. To come up, think of pushing the ground away through the bent leg, again maintaining ribs over pelvis. Return to a nice tall posture where you're not shoving your hips forward, locking out your knees, or leaning back. Your bent knee should stay somewhat stationary over your ankle, tracking in line with your toes as you lower down and come back up. Make sure your knee does not cave in. If you're having trouble finding the proper position of the weighted leg and knee as you go down and come back up, it may help to do these against a wall. You'll be able to see your knee caving in by how it moves away from the wall rather than remaining connected with the wall the whole time. Doing these toward a wall can also help you really sit back and down, creating length in that one side's glutes. It can help you from turning your hips at any point, but rather keeping them pointed straight ahead like headlights the whole time. Keep your core connected and don't let your back arch as you sit back. If your back arches, you may be lengthening more through your hamstrings than your glutes. You'll naturally get some hamstring lengthening in these lunges, but we want the primary action coming through the glutes so that as you get to the bottom, your glutes are long and spring-loaded to propel you back up. As you come up, don't arch and lead with your back, but rather use the tension created in your glutes and your foot pushing down into the floor to come back up. Also check that as you sit back and down, you're not clenching and tucking your bottom under. If you do this, you won't get the full lengthening through your glutes, and other muscles such as the quads will help more. Once you have the general motion down, and especially if you load these with weight, you can incorporate breathing. You can start by inhaling at the top and exhaling as you move down and up so you don't hold your breath or bear down at any point. This can help with extra core and pelvic floor support. Another common breathing strategy is to inhale on the way down and exhale on the way up. This can help if you have tightness in your pelvic floor or hips. If you have a hyperactive or extra clenched pelvic floor, like tight, deep hip rotators, you can exhale on the way down and inhale on the way up. As you do these side lunges, you should feel your glute max and glute medius, your adductors or inner thighs, and your hamstrings and quads. You should not feel a lot of tension in your back or deep hip rotators, hip flexors, or pinching in the front of the hip.